more successful than I feel we would have been before. So anyway, happy to be here.
Excited I know you guys have a lot lined up too with regards to the marketing and stuff. And I know with this version of the project as well, it's obviously exciting. It's on the BSC chain. I know that's a little bit easier for people to kind of get in and invest in on the average. I know from like the AVAX side of things, there's a lot of utility, and I think it's undervalued what projects can actually do on that chain. But in terms of an adoption, it's definitely a little bit lagging behind. So I understand where the transition occurred, and I know Karan's been really lining up some incredible marketing for you guys in the background to ensure maximum exposure on this one, so people can really connect with the brand as you guys continue to push into BSC. So yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, you got a snapshot.
Yeah, no, we're super excited. No, Karan is the bomb, and with him and me together, we're just like the perfect mixture, I feel like, with his marketing and my sort of sales and just bubbly personality with a brilliant mind. Just kidding. I think it's just a perfect mix. And it's funny, I've been saying, like, be careful what you wish for, because I said in one of my AMAs that it would be great if we had launched on the Binance Smart Chain, because in America we get kind of like sort of, put into our bubble here, and we don't really realize how much the rest of the world like uses Binance and the BSC, and it's difficult to get BNB here. So I have a lot of educational like videos like planned for everybody to sort of learn how to buy if you're in America and do the BNB. And I really enjoy teaching, so it's fun. I just make them and throw them up on my YouTube channel. But yeah, so I really was just using this opportunity, to realize like how much the rest of the world, like 85% of the world uses either Ethereum or BSC. So, it was just a great opportunity. I'm actually kind of glad it happened. It was stressful for sure, but I'm actually just like really glad it happened. And I feel we have so much more potential to be like, to go to the moon now than we did before on Avalanche. So yeah, just really excited. And I'm excited to tell you guys all about the product. If I can, just let me know and I can get started.
Yeah, of course. I was just gonna kind of give it some time for people to jump in. We had a pretty crazy day yesterday on the channel, so I definitely think people are a little bit slower to jump in. Like I had 6 AMAs yesterday.
What happened? 6 AMAs. Oh wow.
Yeah. I started at 7:30. I finished at 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my gosh, you sound like me.
Yeah, I'm a workaholic. Thank God the girlfriend went to the office yesterday, so she didn't have to see that, because she would have been giving me crap for being stuck on my desk for like 14 straight hours.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Why so many?
Honestly, I don't really know. I had 2 booked myself, and then Caesar booked in 4. So I guess everybody was, it was a popular day in the market yesterday or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yesterday, like, it was crazy. I was like, when you plan these things, when you plan a launch, you're like, you really want the market to be on an up day. And usually before a holiday, and tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day, like, you'll get a little bit of a rise in the market. And, Sundays and Mondays typically in the market aren't good days. So yeah, so we planned, I'm like, you know what, let's launch the day before St. Patrick's Day. Let's launch St. Patrick's Day Eve. And I actually thought this like in January, like February originally. And it's funny because then Karan came to me and he was like, let's do it on the 16th. I'm like, no way. That's like, this is just like when the universe synchronizes and aligns, right? Because I was like, I had that thought like months ago. And he's like, yeah, it'll be the perfect day. And sure enough, the market's up, and it's just, I don't know. It's seeming to be the perfect storm, if I may. I don't think it's going to be a storm. I think it's going to be sunshine and roses, but it better be this time. I've tested it for 4 days. I've tested everything. I've like put all this amazing stuff in, and you can't say because of the SEC might be listening that, it's going to be successful or guarantee any sort of anything. But my guess is that with my background and Karan and the whole team and everybody else that are on this Sifu Inu journey with us are going to ensure that it's successful. So, yeah.
Let me hear.
Lots of coffee. That's how we make it through these days, right?
I can't even drink coffee. Mocha gives me a headache, so
no.
Yeah,
you know
just
what?
survive off energy drinks and natural energy.
I know. I have a lot of it too. Cayenne pepper. Whenever I get a coffee headache or something like that, just a little bit of cayenne pepper and warm water gets rid of it. FYI. I'm a founder and token developer and an herbalist. I'll also do your tarot cards. Just kidding. Sorry.
So I wanted to just kind of kick things off by reintroducing yourself and maybe a little bit about the project for potentially anybody who missed the previous AMA. Obviously, I know there's a difference in terms of the chain that you guys are launching on, but obviously, I think the concept on this one is still the same. The thing that drew me into the project initially when we first talked about it was your really unique game theory tokenomics. I know that's something that you're super passionate about. So we'll have you kind of break down that again for everybody who's newer today. And then for me, it's going to be a little bit obviously about understanding what happened with the AVAX launch and kind of where I guess you as a team and are identifying as kind of like how you guys are going to improve about it. I think just the chain that you're launching on will obviously have a bit of a bigger audience, just BSC versus AVAX. AVAX is more of an experienced users chain where like the utility projects really do thrive, but you have to obviously understand that chain a little bit and how to interact with it. And it's something that I think overall it's what would be like fourth or fifth most popular chain in the space. So I think as you kind of progress your way up, it is a little bit sometimes forgotten. But I said this in our first AMA, utility projects on AVAX do very well. And they have a lot of longevity. So I think just with everything that's changed and with you guys going live on BSC, it's going to be a lot easier for the average investor to connect with this project and to jump in. I mean, your personality is very vibrant. It's very easy to kind of connect to. Karan has some incredible stuff lined up on the back end from a marketing standpoint to ensure that there is a lot of traction, there's a lot of eyes and a lot of attention on the BSC arm of the project here at Sifu. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, I think, for everybody because like you said, I'm a golfer, so I completely get it when you said you're mulligan. But I think sometimes, especially being new into the space, you have to be able to kind of, approach that with an open, candid demeanor and be able to kind of talk to it and have people understand your journey as a project lead. So I'll pass it over to you. Maybe do a quick introduction to your background a little bit. I'm sure some members of the channel are familiar with your experience, but I'd love to have a little bit of an overview of that if you could to start, Dee.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much, Marie. So, my background is I managed a 12 billion, and that's with a B, billion-dollar treasury for a small company you may have heard of called Toyota. Yeah, so my background is accounting and finance, and I wore that hat and implemented cutting-edge software. So I've been on the accounting side, but I've also been the liaison between the IT department and working with the developers. And so I fit in that role very naturally in the real world. And so I thought I'd bring over some of that real world experience after what happened to me in the DeFi space just recently. I got burned. The first time I ever was in DeFi, my first experience was I bought a token with the wrong, it was a copycat contract address. So it was only $5, but I'll never forget it because I sent it to the wrong contract address and I was like, why isn't this working? And then people were like, oh, what contract address did you send it to? And I told them, they're like, oh, that's not the right contract address. So anyway, I sorted that out, bought some, became a VIP, was very like enthralled with the marketing, and they were supposed to get Snoop Dogg and have all these billboards in Times Square and all these wonderful things that sort of never materialized as the liquidity and everything was just sort of slowly drained and was like a slow rug pull. And it was a terrible experience. But then I moved over and just started learning as much as I could about DeFi. And then I actually fell victim to the high APY of the DAOs. Now, DAOs are typically used for communities, like when you're renaming a park. It stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So you can vote. It's really a voting tool, like if your community park needs a new name, you'd go in and vote for it, kind of thing. But there is slang term in the DeFi space for meaning these high APY rebasing projects. I lost a very large amount of them because of sort of people that were manipulating, bad actors, and the fact that the project just wasn't set up good. Because these rebasing projects, and I'm sorry if you're a developer of a rebasing project, but they're very predictable. Every 8 hours, you get these reward tokens. So what was happening is people were buying in with their millions of dollars right before the rebase would occur, and then they'd sell right after. So the only variance in price that they would get was for that very short period amount of time. So that they'd get the rewards, they'd make their $20,000 off every million, and then they'd get out. And for all of us little guys who were just sitting there holding the whole time, because that was the game theory, because this was game theory, was supposed to be that if you held, and everybody else held, then you were all going to make this, $80,000 over this runway, and it was sustainable, which is the runway. That's how many days it could last for. That's what a runway is. And, it was 420, some odd days, and it was like, oh, well, this is just great, and it had the when Lambo, like, how many Lambos you're going to get calculating. And sure, I fell victim for it. I bought at the top, and then turns out that the team wasn't being completely honest with us, and they had lied about one of the people that was managing the treasury. He had a very crooked past, and when that news broke, the price tanked and just sort of never recovered, and the community lost trust in the people, and I lost a lot of money. And so I was sitting around going, well, okay. So my analytical mind and brain was like, well, how could I fix this? If this were like, if this were my project, like if I was to create a project, like how would I fix it? So I got on the horn with a good friend of mine, and for about 5 hours, he who had also lost a bunch of money, and he and I just toggled back and forth, and we're like, okay, what would fix this? What would fix the timing, of the rebase projects? We're like, oh, like if you did randomized airdrops, that would fix it. If you did like, different things. Okay, so 5 hours later, we came up with this amazing project, and we're like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And so then it was late. He was on the East Coast of the United States, 3 hours difference or whatever. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go to bed or whatever. And I just turned on the TV, and I normally just watch Netflix and chill. But this night I turned on the TV, or the regular TV, and what happened to be on was the game show Deal or No Deal. I don't know if you guys have seen that one where they open up the suitcases, and inside every suitcase is like, a different number. And depending on what suitcase they open at different time periods, the banker gets on the phone and makes you an offer, right? And I was like, that would be so fun if I did this and I added this to the project that my friend and I just created today. So the next morning I call him up. I'm like, dude, we got to do like deal or no deal. And he's like, yeah. And I go, let's add a thing to like create volume, because volume is so important. I have another friend who's like a daily trader on the stock exchange, and he always is calling me up. He's like, dude, did you see the volume of Carnival today? It's like off the chain. And he's always talking about volume this, volume that, volume. If you have volume, then you're gonna have you're gonna be successful. It's gonna be an up day. You're gonna make money. So I'm like, okay, well, what would create volume? And I'm like, well, a lot of like price fluctuations will create volume. So I'm like, okay, what would cause price fluctuations? I'm like, okay, the suitcase opening, that's the price fluctuation. So I came up with the idea of earn or burn. On a daily basis, a wheel is spun and it's determined, randomized, because that's very important, and done through a third party, which is also very important, like a YouTube or whatever. So a wheel will be spun live and determined whether you have an earn or a burn. Then a second wheel gets spun, and it determined what the amount of the suitcase is going to be. Well, we call it a scroll because of our name. So our name is Sifu Inu, and Sifu means master in Chinese, and Inu means dog in Japanese. So we've got like a Chinese, Japanese master dog token. So that's what the name means. But yeah, so on this set, so every day, 2 wheels are spun. And if I can I just show you guys right now? If I could share my screen, I can do a wheel spin, if that's okay. Let's see. I'll go right here. Okay. And I will go live YouTube every single day. And I will do an earn and a burn. So a lot of people were like, well, how many earns and how many burns are you going to do? So I was like, okay, I'm going to do, let's see. Let me just make sure. Am I still on? Can you guys still hear me? Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
We're good. Yep.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I was having, okay, cool. I don't know. I was having a minor technical difficulty on my end here. Okay. So, yeah. So we have 60% earn days and 40% burn days. And how it's going to work, like people were like, well, why don't you just do 6 earns and 4 burns? And I said, well, that would be a 60-40 split. This is truly randomized by letting the universe decide, because you never know how many earn days are going to be in a row, and you never know how many burn days are going to be in a row. And I'll just spin it and I'll show you guys how it's going to work. But each day one will get removed out of circulation. And then all the nerds, like I'm a queen super nerd myself, but all the nerds can come in and try to do predictions based on probabilities of what's been earned and what's been burned to predict whether it's going to be, a certain amount and whether it's going to be an earn or burn day. Okay. So here we go. Big money, big money. Earn. Yay! Earn. Okay. So if this had been an actual earn or burn day spin, I would remove it and it would take it out of that list. But this is my actual version that I'm going to be using live. So I'm going to close it and I am going to go, and now I'm going to do the second spin. So the second spin is the amount. And I played around, so I don't know if any of you guys have tweenage boys, not quite teenagers, but the funniest thing, and they just know it as the funny number. But yeah, so 69 and 420 are the funniest numbers to them. And so this is a nod to my tweenage son.
I don't know if that changes as you get older, to be honest, though, because I still use number 69 when I use my characters in different games and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. And, it's actually in the space. It's everywhere. Everyone, and I bought Doge. I'm not going to lie. I did buy Doge when it was at 0.002. I'm one of those people. And, the community is all about 42069. And it's just funny. It's a funny number. And as an accountant, you don't really get to have a lot of fun with it and make a lot of jokes because it's pretty cut and dry, right? It's a debit or credit. But anyway, so I came in here and you'll see all the numbers are kind of fun, 42069. And the big prize, though, if we spin it and we win it today, would be 100,000,420,69. But you guys can come in here, and all this, and I'll show you in a minute, is all public. I have a link to the Google Docs, the Google Sheets that are all public, and you guys can come and see all the results. But I'll show you how that works in a second. But let's spin for the number. Okay, big money, big money, big money.
Come on. What did we get?
1,069,420.
1,000, yeah, I'm a little off.
1 million. That's That's okay. No, trust me. When I was setting this up, I kept saying 1,000 all the time too. It's just your brain just does that. It's normal.
I'm
But
used to
anyway,
seeing
so
millions. I live in the thousands. I don't live in the millions.
right? Well, just wait, invest in Sifu Inu and play the game right, and you'll be fine. Okay, so right now we're gonna put a button here for it, you guys. But I'm gonna come in live every day, and under the FAQs is the link right now for you to see it. And under how does the daily drawing work, there's a little link right here, and it links you right to the Google Sheets. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to do a strike through. So that number is stricken through. And then I'm going to strike through on the 1,000,000 Was it 42069? Yes, right?
Yeah, I think it was 1,069,420.
Oh, it was one of these. Okay. So anyway, so it would be like this. Oops. Okay, so I'll strike that through, and then I'll come over here and update it so you guys can see all the results. And these are the results from the previous AMAs. I'm going to obviously zero this out. And one is 42069. Oops. Oh, I have too many zeros in there. Okay. Okay, whatever it was. Anyway, 69, 420, that's what it was. Okay. Let's get it accurate. And then let's say, oh goodness, I got to buy the upgraded version of Google Sheets. I'm an Excel expert, but Google Sheets, I'll admit, you guys, this is my first rodeo with this. Why would you use this if you know Excel? But I wanted to make this public for everybody. Okay, so let's just say I airdrop this at like 6 p.m. or something. So you guys want to know whether you got your airdrop, you can just come in here and you can check and see if you got your Sifu airdrop. And all the earn days will be airdropped to everybody based on the percentage of Sifu that you have. The more Sifu, the bigger the bag, the bigger the airdrop. And there's actually 2 airdrops with this project. And I will talk about the second one in just a minute once I stop sharing my screen. So that's basically what I wanted to show you with that. So really fun, like way to like produce volume and the burn days. So I adjusted a couple things for this time around. I adjusted the amount of tokens from 25 billion to 2.5 billion. And the reason is it's a kind of a pain to like get, put in a lot of zeros, and people don't want to count that. And I find that frustrating with myself, with Shiba and all that. It's just frustrating. So, and plus I want to get to $1. I mean, that's like the goal, right? 10 cents. And it just wouldn't have been possible. It just like physically is more money than there could ever be on the planet. So I thought that adjustment, but also because I thought it would make the burns more scarce. And so when we have a burn day, it'll be more apt to, when burning it out of maximum supply, it will take the it will hopefully make it more scarce, and when scarcity happens, it will raise the price. So for the last couple days after I had finished all the adjustments or whatever, I started binge watching YouTubes and AP, which stands for Advanced Placement Macroeconomics, YouTube teachers on YouTube. And one of the things that they talked about was scarcity, and I just think that it's really important to my game to make sure that the burns actually will have some effect. So with that said, if it's okay, I will move on to the tokenomics really quick and then talk about the couple things I added, and then I'll let you guys ask me anything you want. Does that sound good? I won't make you unmute. I see that I'm still live.
For me. But what I was going to say is I'd love to have you, because I know from talking with you, there was a couple things that you were really excited, a couple key pieces that you were really excited, kind of holding back. So I want to make sure we time those out
okay.
well.
Yes. Okay. So when are we scheduled to finish? How much time do I have?
Not a hard cap. I know you guys have your AMA with Trav. What is it?
It's
5?
at noon. It's in 1 hour and 4 minutes.
The whole UTC time change is messing me up.
Oh,
But
it's messed me up so bad. So
so I
bad.
had 27 AMAs booked already for this week when the time change happened. So we had to go in, and I was told that Caesar's admin changed all of them for me, but I'm finding today all of my schedule from today going forward is not changed. So I'm
Oh
having to,
no, I'm
even like
so sorry.
what happened with you guys is you were in the schedule for 12 o'clock.
I
And I'm like,
know.
message Karan. I'm like, hey, man, it's like 12 o'clock. Or like, what's going on? I haven't heard from Didi. And he's like, we're at 1 o'clock. I was like, oh, dang. Okay. I was like, you're in the schedule for 12. And I thought that was updated already to the
Oh
time
no.
change. But I found out today my whole schedule, I was told it was going to be done by Caesar's admin, but it was done for 2 days. And then pretty much the rest is left for me to figure it out. So that's been fun this morning to deal with.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's really challenging. I struggle with it too because of daylight saving times. Now I've got it. We're -7. So, but I'm in Los Angeles. I'm in the West Coast. Are you on the East Coast?
Yeah, I'm 4 now instead of 5.
Okay, yeah. So that's helping me. So I'm -7. I was -8, but now I'm -7. It's taken me a while to get it, but yeah, I've relied on myself on the schedule now because I actually ran into the same situation as you, and I was like, you know what, I have to make sure that I'm on the horn
Well,
when
I
I need
started
to be.
doing
So.
that. I even told Karan, he's like, hey, man, when are we going to throw the post up? I was like, honestly, dude, I woke up and realized my entire schedule is wrong. I had somebody emailing me think they had an AMA at the same time as you today. So I had 2 people think
Oh,
they had 1
really?
o'clock today, but one
Oh
of
my
them was the
goodness.
17th at 1 o'clock, and one of them was today, but him and Caesar had a miscommunication. So when Caesar booked, he thought it was today. So he's like, hey, bro, where's the announcement? I saw you put up one for another project. Where's ours? It's like, you're tomorrow. What
Oh
do you
no.
mean, dude? He's like, no, today it's
Oh
5 p.m. And I'm like,
no.
no, tomorrow. And I sent him my schedule. He's like, oh no. Yeah, so it's been a change, I think, for everybody, especially us
Yeah.
being like affected directly by it. I know people, some time zones, even some states aren't affected. Like Arizona doesn't
Yeah,
follow.
Arizona doesn't follow. We're like, you know what? We're our own state. You know, we don't believe in that daylight savings time thing. Well, when I first discovered it, and how I discovered it was like I was on my one of my team members is in Australia, and 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 then Karan is in he's in Pakistan, and I'm like, look, I go. I'm like, you guys, something's wrong with the pink sale. It's saying 1900 now. It's saying 1900 is the fair launch. And they're like, no, it's not. It says 1800 for me. It says 1800 for us. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I set it up as 1800. I know I did. I have it on video because I was filming it because I was recording everything during and they're like, no, it's 19. And I'm like, why is it? So I messaged Pink Sale. I'm like, why is it that we're 1900 and 1800? They didn't even know. And I'm like, I kept figuring it out. I kept thinking about it. And then all of a sudden it came to me. I'm like, daylight savings time. That's what it is. So the rest of the world, anyway. But yeah, so it's been kind of challenging. So I have an hour before Travelodge right now. So if I could, I'll talk about the exciting
Yeah,
things.
I have
I'll build into the
another.
tokenomics.
I have
You have
another
another
hour
one?
too, so yeah, we can hang out till then. I don't mind running it long because I wanted to really show because I love the concept and I know that there's some things that occurred and you guys decided to change chains. And I mean, I think it's really smart for the longevity of this one just to get the audience behind you guys. And then as you decide to grow, then you can make the move to different chains in the future. And I think that's the plan that you're going to take for this one. So yeah, I just
Totally.
really wanted to be sure that we touch on everything because I really love the concept. I was a big fan
Thank
of yours
you.
initially, and I was obviously sad to hear that the AVAX launch didn't go as you were hoping, considering I know the utility that projects in that chain can have. But here we are. You guys are really pushing forward. You have a ton planned positively for the community. So it's just a great time to be learning about the project again. So yeah, let's just keep it going.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so the tokenomics, and I made just like a quick little thing. Previously, I'm going to start with now some of the changes. Previously, we had a 10% buy tax and a 10% sell tax, but we really wanted to encourage hodlers. So the change that I made is I just shifted the entire buy tax over to the end. So it's a sell tax. So so it's 20% now sell tax and a 0% buy tax, because you should be able to get in and buy the biggest bag possible and just keep growing it and growing it and growing it. And that's the strategy there, which I will talk about also in a minute. But so yeah, so it's 20% buy, 20% sell, and I made a little graph. Let's see. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to share it with you guys. And I was going to say that I'm better at sharing my screen. Okay, here. So here's the pie chart that I made of the tokenomics. So, oh wait, can you see it? Yes,
Yep.
right?
Perfectly.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So it's 20%, and of that 20%, so 20% equals 100%. But we didn't have a liquidity piece, and I didn't really realize until really learning now how important it is for whales and for, just anything else to come in there, of like how much really needs to get added to liquidity. So out of every single $100 spent, 40 so the 20% will be taken out. So of the $20, 40%, I'm making this confusing. 40% will be spent on liquidity. So it's basically 8% of the 20%, if that makes sense. And so that's going to go to the liquidity. And so that way, if somebody sells and takes a lot, there'll still be extra liquidity left there for people to buy back in, and just to move stuff around and to sell. So I do have anti-whale measures in place. And some other things that I did that I added that I'm going to be talking about. Stay tuned. But yeah, so this aspect is huge, that we've added this liquidity thing. It's just going to make us long-term more sustainable, and to make the volume happen. And so it was really important that we added the 8%,
Wow,
the 8%, 20 of liquidity. Yeah.
You see the launch or the pre-sale start?
No, did it start?
Yeah, it started like I guess the UTC still messing you up, but it started 4 minutes ago, I guess technically.
Yes. Oh, good. Where are we at?
It like insta filled like 40 something B&B in the first minute, and it's just been.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, that's awesome! Yay! Oh, we're gonna hit the soft cap before we're off the horn. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, like I said, I love the project. I really like the idea. Your passion's contagious. It's just, I think with you guys transitioning to BSC as opposed to being on the AVAX chain, there's going to be a number of additional people who will buy in and be able to support you guys, and maybe just like the project but weren't willing to go through the extra few steps to do a conversion or a swap.
Totally. And that's totally what we're thinking too. We are thinking that, like, we're going to get so many more people on it now. Like the rest of the world are going to be able to buy into this, because no one wants to be held. You know what the Americans thing? The Americans' biggest fear, I heard this once, Americans' biggest fear is the fear of being inconvenienced. So
I would believe that.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Believe that.
It's totally true. Now the rest of the world isn't as bad as us, but yeah. So people just, it's on B&B. It's easy. They're just gonna want to do it, right? So okay. So getting back to the token,
I'm kind of like sometimes at fault for that too. Sometimes it's just easier when you're busy and stuff like that. Like it's just easier to get it done. It's like, well, I gotta do this, and I don't really know it that well, so I'm just gonna stick to what I know, especially when you're busy. So I get that, and it's really,
my gosh,
like I said, I think it's really exciting that people are going to be able to buy it on a more mass scale, considering the change that you guys are on now. The one thing I did want to let you know, I don't know if you have a mod or somebody like that in the TG.
Is it going crazy right now?
Yeah, it's getting a little botted, I think, right now.
Okay. Okay, let me get on that. Let me tell Karan. Stop people joining the group. Okay, hold on. Alex, if you can hear me, stop people joining the group. We're live on telephone. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to let you know because
turn off the letting people join the group. Now we're getting botted in the Telegram. Thank you, everybody, for being patient. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Fix it now. That is okay. That's what happens when people are trying to find or come after good projects. It happens every day. Unfortunately, it makes me hate the space a little bit more when you see somebody put hard work into something and then somebody's like, "Oh, I can just do this," and it's like that. They'll never change. I try and scammers reach out to me all the time, and I'm try and lecture some sense into them, and they don't want to learn. So I'm like, okay, well, you keep living on with no conscience. Eventually, karma's going to catch up to you. So.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. And that's why, I wanted to create this project is because I know my integrity. I mean, do you know how much integrity you have to manage a $12 billion freaking treasury from Toyota Motor Sales?
You come from that background similar to what I do. I went to school to be an accountant as well to get my CA. Yeah. So it was advanced tax for me that caused me to not want to go into accounting anymore. Silly advanced tax.
I love tax.
Yeah, advanced tax too in grade. I guess fourth year university is when I transitioned to marketing and sales instead. But I still have that. I guess 2 credits short of an accounting degree.
That's so funny because I am the opposite of you. I did was gonna go marketing, but I'm close to a marketing degree as well, but I'm accounting. I loved tax. I don't know why. I loved it. And tax too is my favorite. I don't like auditing.
I couldn't do the tax side. I love numbers. I was always a numbers guy. Pattern recognition, analytics was my bread and butter. But then I got into advanced tax in school, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this. People were always like, "Oh, you're too much." And that's why it's kind of interesting that you ended up in accounting because, you're such a people person as well. You have such a dynamic
personality. Everybody who knew me my whole life said, "What are you doing going into accounting?" I will tell you though.
You can't be an accountant unless you do the partnership side. Maybe a couple of years down the line, where you're in front of clients because you're good at that, but stuck in the office. Good luck for your coworkers.
Yeah, no, it was not a good. I did it for 15 years and it was fine. I like doing the company accounting. I did not like auditing. That was not for me. That was very boring. But I did like tax law. Now, tax law is more law. And so it's more like talking. That's probably why you didn't like it, because I'm not actually that much of a numbers person. I geek out on numbers, but I geek out on pluses and minuses, supply and demand, going ups and downs. It's just yin and yang. I geek out on that.
I got a minor in what's it? Macro, I think macroeconomics.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I absolutely I hated economics, but I got 4 of the 6 credits I needed standard for my program. So I just whatever, I'll do 2 more to get it.
See, that's my jam. No, I love it. And so, but getting back, we do really have to take, you have to have so much integrity. And that's why I wanted to do this project. I'm can't somebody with some real world experience who's not going to scam out and just scam everybody that has built-in integrity do something? I'm you know what? No one's doing anything. I don't know any of these people. I don't trust anybody. People I trusted have totally just screwed me over. I'm I'm just going to do my own project. I know how much integrity I have. I have tons of integrity. You know what I mean? So I'm I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make my own project. And so and then I'm really fun too. So to top it off, I'm you know what? I just love having fun. I play poker. I'm a poker player too. It's just I love game theory. I just love it. It's and poker is a game of skill. It isn't. I mean, there's some luck involved, sure, but with the market too. I mean, there's a little bit of luck involved. So it's fun. And so adding this earn and burn on the daily basis where you really don't know how it's going to turn. We don't know how this game's going to turn out at the end, right? It really is an experiment. But I feel that I've put the right parameters on there, and I've put enough sort of baked in things that it can't go too awry without, I still have control of the game, and I'm not going to let my game blow up, and I'm not going to let everybody lose their money, because I have I put myself on the line out there, KYC and everything. And I have my friends, school friends, parents invested in Sifu Inu. I couldn't let it just go down the tubes, I had too much on the line, and it's too important to me, and I've worked too hard. And so, yeah, I think you guys saw the tokenomics, but just getting back to it, just real quick, I'll just share it and go through the rest of it really quick. Hopefully, if that bots is getting done. I don't know how the Telegram's looking right now, but maybe you guys can tell me in the chat or something.
Quick look.
I'm sure he's on it.
Yeah, they're on it. I know the chat's quiet right now.
It's quiet. Perfect. That's all we need.
Just trying to go back and sweep back and get them all pulled now.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do that. So Alex, if you can hear me, if anybody's watching out there, any of my team Sifu, let's get that stuff out of there. Okay, so so the liquidity is 8% of the 20%, and then 6% is going to be the BNB weekly airdrop. So, excuse me, like I said, there's 2 airdrops with my project. There is one on earn days, and it will be Sifu Inu, this airdrop. But the second one is really cool that I added, and this is very unique to our project. There are not very many projects out there that do 2 different types of airdrops. They just don't have it. We had to add extra code, and this code was kind of expensive to add or whatever. But so I added the weekly airdrop. So to give back to everybody, I'm giving back 30% of all of the taxes collected to you in BNB. So, and I've tested it. It works great. It's super cool. And the strategy would be here. And it's randomized. So you guys are never going to know when it's going to be. And it's going to be randomized before 12 midnight. You guys can figure it out. Minus 7 UTC. I think it's 7 a.m. Sunday mornings is UTC. But in Southern California, it's 12 midnight. Every Saturday, it will happen. So once a week, and you don't know when. That fixes the rebase problem of knowing exactly when it was going to be every 8 hours. So this is going to be Monday morning at 2:43 p.m. or it's going to be Friday night at 9 a.m. or Friday morning 9 a.m. You never know when it's going to be. So if the airdrop hasn't happened for that week yet, and you'll be able to look on it publicly and see it on the Google Sheets. If it hasn't happened yet, then you're going to want to make sure you buy in, or you're going to want to make sure you add to your bag. So the strategy would be is after you get an airdrop to buy and reinvest, buy Sifu, maybe at a dip. After an earn or an airdrop, there might be a dip. When a dip occurs, dips always occur in every project. So when it is, maybe buy in so you have a bigger bag, because the bigger your bag, the bigger the airdrops. And so it's like a snowball effect, like a positive snowball effect, where it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So that's the strategy with the weekly airdrop and the second airdrop, which is BNB. So 2 airdrops. That's really exciting and really fun. Okay, and then the other 3 are all 10%. And in marketing, which we talked about already, is super, super important. I luckily come from Toyota, where Japanese culture believes that you're a better worker if you're a better person. And so they believed in teaching us and including us, very inclusive. And that's my style as well. I want to include everybody. I'm big on community. I'm big on everybody being involved. I don't leave anybody out. Everybody's invited to the party, kind of thing. But the marketing here is I bring something unique to the project, in the fact that, and you can probably attest to this because you're a marketer. And although I am, an accountant by heart, I do have, this sort of background and took advanced marketing as well. But I worked for Toyota Motor Sales. So I worked for the marketing department of the 5th, at the time, Toyota was the 5th biggest company in the entire world. And you couldn't go anywhere. You still can't without seeing like a Toyota emblem on a on a cup or on a car, or, driving down your stadium, it's just Toyotas everywhere, right? And so, and working for Toyota, we were included in a lot of this marketing. We were included in, the projects and the campaigns that were going on. We were kept apprised of this. I remember one time, it was funny, they came into the marketing meeting, and they were like, okay, you guys, we're going to tell you about this new guerrilla marketing that we have going on, where we're going to go out into impoverished, areas, and where there's, boarded up houses and stuff. We're going to spray paint like edgy Toyota logos, like all over like the boards and stuff like that. Like, I mean, just the sort of really cool stuff that normal accountants wouldn't be like privy to. So yeah, we did all sorts of cool things, like play drums with upper management in the middle of the day, with incense burning and the lights dimmed, just fun things, positive affirmation classes. So I bring that with me in my toolbox. And so that's pretty cool. So I realized the importance of marketing. Toyota spent $1 million a minute on marketing. That's how they got to the 5th biggest company in the world. So I bring that sort of philosophy and mindset with me, which is I feel is awesome. So then this is sort of like, buybacks are kind of like my not really a Hail Mary, but like if big suitcase, let's say we do an earn, like, and that 100 million gets dumped, like gets airdropped to everybody. And I probably will stagger it out to prevent any of this from happening. But let's just say that something happens and the price goes down. I have the ability to buy back. I'm not necessarily going to buy back and burn. I might buy back and sort of lock it away or put it in a different wallet to take it out of supply, because no more can be minted. All you see is all you get. It's like Bitcoin, and not all the Bitcoin has even been mined yet, but it's like you're not going to have any more. So it's kind of like being the mind, well, I will buy back, but I'm probably going to buy back and save it. That's the plan, but it will increase the price, and I'm going to play around with it. So we have 2% going to this buyback fund, and then 10% goes to development, which is like development of the final 10%. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I will tell you about the new developments that we had. Okay, so in developing this new project, I uncovered like a lot of things that sort of were, I don't want to say went wrong, but yeah, we know that some things went wrong. And there are a lot of, I like to say, opportunities for improvement. At Toyota, we used to have a saying like, no best, only better. And it's really true. Like, there is no best, only better. Continuous improvement. It's actually a Japanese word called kaizen. So you continuously are getting better and better and better and improving. So I took this opportunity to improve. And one of the things that I did was I developed, I added into the code an anti-bot feature. So what happened was, and what happens with every project, and we even see it in our Telegram right now, we're just like getting spammed by bots, right? And we're getting wrecked. There are these bots out there for any new project that opens, and they're just sitting there hovering. They just got your contract address, they know all the coins that are being listed, and they're just waiting for it to open. And literally 300 times a second, this bot is asking, are you open? Are you open? Are you open? Are you open? And the minute they open, they do this huge buy. It inflates the price, and then everyone's like, oh wow, this project's doing amazing. They have like, look at the price already, and they FOMO in. So when all these people FOMO in, then they recognize that there's enough liquidity to drain these bots automatically. It's all in the programming. They drain it all, and then the price tanks, and the liquidity is drained, and the project's basically ruined. And it's so sad to me to see all these projects, and it actually happened with our first project. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do to prevent this? They drained like $50,000 in like, just minutes, really, maybe a couple hours, but it sucked. And so I was like, you know what, we got to prevent this from happening. And awesome, Pink Sale is so great that they have this amazing feature that like prevents that from happening. So I've already baked it into the code. I've tested it. It works. I have one going. So when we go live, people are not going to be able to buy, and it adds every block, and you can go in there and check the details. But so you can only buy $50 right off the bat in the first minute that we open, and then 60 seconds later you can do another buy, and then it adds, and I have it running for like 8 hours because that's typically how long the bots last, but I can do another one at any time because luckily it's in the contract, so I can keep doing it, and we will monitor that and have that in there, and based on the needs of the real people and what sort of is going on with the bots, we'll make adjustments after that 8 hours. But for the 8 hours, yeah, we have the opportunity to blacklist bots and that kind of thing, and so it's just really cool. And so that's one of the new features that I'm super excited about. It's going to pretty much all but guarantee our success on the BSC, and yeah, it's just really great that we have this feature. So the second feature that we have that I'm like excited to announce is okay. So my developer, the guy that helped me write the code and taught me how to use Web3 and Remix and all this stuff, he is in Nigeria. Okay, and so him and I had a little bit of like fun with words, right? The way he says words is different the way that I say words. And so he said potato, I said potato. He says array. I mean, I say array, he says array, and I was like, what's an array? But anyway, so I said when I was listing the asks for this project, I said I want a vesting period. So I want people to have to stake it for 3 days or whatever. And he's like, okay. And he took that to mean as investing. So he added an investing portion of code. And I'm like, what's that? And so we were going through and testing, and he's like showing me, and I figured I'm like, oh, this isn't vesting. This is investing. This is staking. So he added a staking feature, and he does DApps. He does decentralized applications. So after we launch tomorrow, it's going to be 4 to 24 hours is when we'll be available for sale and trade and swap on PancakeSwap. But once that happens, we're going to start work on the application for staking features. So there's going to be additional rewards if you guys, all you hodlers that just want to keep, building your bags of Sifu with those airdrops, you're going to get additional incentives to keep staking. So that was something I was like super excited about. I'm like, I just it just keeps getting better and better, and I was over the moon when I found this. I'm like, yeah, because I'm a staker. I stake PancakeSwap, for over a year now, and I'm like, yes, this is so rad. It's like just gets better. So I'm super stoked about the staking, and more to come on that, but I wanted to announce that, and I wanted to save it for the AMAs to make it special for all of you guys. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. As far as sort of the new things go and just catching everybody up. But if you want to ask me specific questions right now, that would be great. And then maybe just take, oh yeah, we still have time. So yeah, I can talk about, what happened with AVAX or the Avalanche or anything that you want. Ask me anything. I'm open kimono here. I really
why don't we just understand what happened with you kind of touched on a little bit with the supply and people buying in and holding a larger amount, and obviously I've seen it across the space. If the liquidity is not as high and people have a higher amount of the supply, one or two massive sales can really cause that sell-off to occur and kind of start to drain the liquidity from within the pool. So I see it around the space all the time. But it's just, I know, like you said, you've been really passionate about this. You have the background, and you're really wanting to try and put a project in the space that can grow over the long term, and you can look back and be proud of. I like the concept, obviously, with the deal or no deal, and obviously you're somebody who's really researched and understands game theory tokenomics. So for me, it was a project that I was really excited to see launch, but we kind of touched on this in our first AMA. It was obviously the AVAX chain and the first project. So there was a couple of things that I know were going to be maybe a bit of an uphill battle with the project. So just understanding because I think you guys filled the cap on the AVAX one regardless. So just really trying to understand what happened from the launch to now. And I think it's all positive because you guys have a way bigger audience. The project itself is obviously a little bit more established. You still have the key points, and Karan is obviously helping you line up a ton of top tier marketing. So there's a lot of positives. But I think maybe for anybody who didn't understand or hasn't followed along or bought in and didn't kind of know what happened, maybe they bought in and they forgot about it. It's a great opportunity just to talk to people about what happened and how you guys are kind of prepared to ensure the BSC side is going to go strong after launch.
Yeah. So I'll just tell the story because, like I said, we're open kimono, and I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not doing anything wrong. Like I explained to you, I have the utmost integrity. I want everybody to get rich. Look, those 1%ers out there have enough money. Okay, they can share some of it with the little guy, and this is all about us all winning. This is not a game where I'm the winner and you guys are the losers. And and I'll just say right now that anybody who says anything bad in any of my social groups or accuses me of anything like that is getting banned, because that's not what we're about. And we are very, very, open kimono is what I like to say at Sifu Inu. And the project was inspired by liars and thieves and other bad actors. And we're not about that by any stretch of the imagination. So anyway, but with that said, unfortunately, like you said, it was my first project. So I guess technically this is my second. I'm an expert now. But yeah, so okay. So what happened is that we had the most amazing fair launch, you guys. I nailed it. Karan and I were like, okay, there was another one called Baby Elephant. I don't know if I should promote them, but whatever. They're like the same marketing spend as you. They did about 331 B&B, so we should probably do about like 1,500 AVACs, between 14 and 1,500 AVACs over on the Avalanche chain, blah, 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 blah. And it was hard. We were trying to get that 420 cap. I really reached out to all my people in all the groups. I'm a moderator for a huge DeFi group on Facebook. We have like 20,000 members or more. And, I reached out to all of them. Shout out to all of you guys in the Facebook group if you're watching. But yeah, a lot of them, were supporting and that kind of thing. And so we pulled it all out, and it was just, it was like magic. Like I was on an AMA and people were like, oh my gosh, another 100 AVACs by, another 200 AVACs by, another like, whoa, someone just bought like 300 AVACs worth, the kind of thing, right? And then they're like, okay, and then it closed. And we had sold 1,425 AVACs. So we were like so excited because, it was a struggle at the beginning to get to that 420, soft cap, because if you don't get the soft cap, everyone gets their money back. By the way, have we hit our soft cap? I bet we probably already hit it now. If we were at 40, I'm sure if not now, we're very close. But anyway, so we were all excited and everyone's like, oh, this is so cool or whatever. And then on the chats, everyone was like, how do we claim our tokens? How do we claim our tokens? So I want to claim my tokens. So how do I claim my tokens? So I got on the phone call with somebody who I will not mention their names here, but they were helping us with the audit. And as an auditor, we're not allowed to recommend pausing the sales. So, okay, I'm just going to say that's sort of like a spoiler alert. But what happened was, so I got on the phone with him and I'm like, hey, can you help me allow the people to control the claim buttons? I want them, they want to claim their tokens. And I had launched originally with the product called CoinTool. And with CoinTool's fair launch, you just close the fair launch, you get the unsold tokens back or whatever, the pre-sale, and then everybody can claim their tokens. So that's what I was used to. Pink Sale works a little bit differently, and I was on a screen share and on a call with him, and he said, what you do is you just finalize the pre-sale, the fair launch. And so I said, okay. So I just clicked the button, finalize fair launch, and it launched over on Trader Joe. Prematurely. We had all these marketing things set up, and we had like 12 more, like all sorts of things going on. We weren't going to launch for another 24 hours, and we were live, and I didn't know it. and my phone started blowing up, and we were just looking at the socials or whatever, and we're saying, oh, we got to make sure, just like admin stuff, right, on the call. And I go, well, let me burn some of the supply, because I had an AMA, and we just had decided that it wasn't the earns and burn bid. The burn bid wouldn't be that interesting if we have so much supply. So I decided to take down the supply. Anyway, so we worked on that, and my phone kept blowing up, and I'm like ignoring it. And then one of my team members was like, we're live. I'm like, no, what? And so I was like, oh my gosh. And so I looked at it, and then he kept saying, oh, you're fine, your market cap will, because we burned 95% of the supply. And so that made the market cap look at like 2 million. So it was an inflated market cap, and then people were buying and selling, and he kept me on the phone for like 2 hours, like trying, like analyzing, like whether it was fine or whatnot. And I said, hey, can we take a look at the taxes? So for these 2 hours, I was like trying to test the taxes, and the taxes weren't coming out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my whole game. I can't, if the taxes aren't being taken out, and then this isn't going to work. And so we tried everything, and the code was fine. It had been audited. And it's just that Trader Joe's doesn't take out taxes, although it shouldn't have been allowed. It shouldn't have been allowed to launch a Trader Joe's. Apparently, it would have worked with Hurricane Swap, which is what it was designed to do. But unfortunately, CoinTool's support is horrible and pretty much non-existent. So they didn't inform us this. And Trader Joe's was just very rude. And now all the liquidity that wasn't drained by the bots, which is like 41,000, is stuck on AVAX. So for all the migration costs and everything over here, I had to foot the bill for myself. So I sold all my Bitcoin literally, and have paid for the total migration. I mean, if you can't believe in yourself, then who are you going to believe in, right? So I footed the whole bill. I had a little bit left from the pre-sale because 70% had gone to liquidity and 30% had gone to the project. And so I had that a little bit, that left. And so I used that for the migration expenses and the development of this product, which is, I think, incredible, and for marketing. And but yeah, so he said, okay, so I'm on the phone. We figured out we can't fix the taxes, right? The taxes are all like, messed up. And so he's like, I go, what do I do? The community's like, as they're being really, hateful and stuff out there. And he's like, go, you can go live on YouTube and, tell everybody to sell. So I went on the live on YouTube and told everybody to sell. And luckily one of the AMA guys was watching, the hosts, and he was like, just press pause. And then I'm like, oh yeah. I go, because I was discombobulated and I was just frazzled. I mean, this was my whole like world like blowing up in front of my face, right? I ended the live stream. I pressed the pause button. And then later I tried to turn it back on to get the liquidity out, and it broke the whole thing. So I tried to work with Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's basically told me to F off, and CoinTool said the same thing. So basically all we had to do was we just have to wait, the 180 days, and then we'll get the liquidity back. But it's 41,000. You can all see it. It's all on the blockchain, and it's just sitting there. And I have spent 4 times that on marketing and everything else on this project out of my own money. So anyway, that's the story. Open kimono. That's what happened. It sucked. I airdropped everybody 10% who was affected by this, and a bonus plus their original bags. I kept everything the same. With the numbers and the price projections. The price projections, I'm looking at like 0.0005 with this. I nailed it on the AVAX thing. I wanted the price to be 3 zeros and a 5, and it was 0.3045, which you round up, it's 3 zeros and a 5. So I totally like nailed it 100%. And I've made the same projections here, but I think we've got a little bit of a better response than I thought that we were going to have. So I'm predicting the price to be like 3 zeros and a 5 to as high as probably the average of 3 zeros and a 7, 0.3 zeros and a 7, but maybe as high as 0.3 zeros and a 9, or maybe even dropping a 0 to 1. So 2 zeros and a 1. But yeah, so Anyway, that's what happened. You guys can ask me anything about it. I am not hiding anything. I'm open kimono. Like I said, I've been used to being audited, where for 25 years we're working at, managing a $12 billion treasury where you have to like have your books and everything completely open. I'm used to it. So, and things happen, problems happen. That's what happened. And it's unfortunate, but I'm actually looking at it in a really positive light. I'm thinking, you know what? It's actually amazing that this happened because the Avalanche blockchain, it wasn't a good choice. I was weighing the choices. I'm like, should I do Avalanche blockchain or should I do Binance Smart Chain? And the reason why I chose Avalanche to begin with was because a lot of these DAOs, these rebasing projects, were on there. It was just not good. But you know what? Now we get this opportunity. Now we get the opportunity to be on the Binance Smart Chain. So it's awesome. It couldn't be better in my opinion. We're going to get way more people. Everybody's going to be way more successful. We're all going to make way more money. We're going to, who knows how many X, even before launch, or, right at launch with this anti-bots and, the staking reward, like just so many things. It's so many better features. It's actually a really good thing. Although, I'm not going to lie, I did cry my eyes out after that day. And then I worked really hard for the next 3 or 4 days learning Web3 and really getting the project and testing and lots of testing and but you know what, I have to thank the community for the most part has been so supportive and so forgiving. I just explained everything that happened to everybody, and you can go back in and read all the pinned messages and the telegrams and the Discord, and and everybody's just been so nice and so understanding, and I've really tried to be personal with everybody, and give them a response. We're not too big that I can't send a response to a DM or something like that, where someone was like, how do I get my airdrop, or I got missed, or I couldn't claim on Pink Sale, or whatever it was, and so I just really tried to make sure that I just explained what happened. And I think when you're honest and you explain just what the situation is, when I was going to college, I was a waitress, and like one of the things, if like the kitchen ran out of avocados or the cook didn't show up for the work or whatever, the best thing I found was just go to the table and be honest with them and just be, hey, look, I'm so sorry, I didn't know this, but they just told me we ran out of avocados. Can I get you something else, or what can I do to make this better, kind of thing, rather than just letting the table sit there. They're sitting there waiting for their avocados, expecting these avocados to come, and then they never come. So that's just the approach that I took, and it's always worked well for me in the past. And so I just came up to everybody and said, hey, look, this is what happened. It sucks, but I'm going to make it right, and I'm going to make it better. There's no best, only better. And I hope you guys come with me on this journey, because it's going to be a good and hopefully very profitable ride. And yeah, so and they did. And so if any of you guys like from before are listening, thank you so much for your support and everything. I really appreciate you guys and the support, because it's been one of the things that's really pulled me through, having people go in there like, what, I support you, and I'm sorry this happened, just like you, Maurice, you're saying the same thing, and that sentiment is what has motivated me and really kept me going, along with the fact that my kids' friends' parents have invested as well as me. Just kidding. But yeah. And I want to make money. This is a good idea. Why am I just going to drop it? Everyone's like, oh, it's just dropped. I ran away with $30,000. I'm like, $30,000? I have $150,000 invested in it. Like, why would I do that? You know what I mean? I want to make millions. I don't want to make $30,000. That's nothing. Anyway, sorry. But I digress.
I completely understand that side of it as well. I think for me, it's like, I know you guys have a ton of hype. I know you guys have a couple calls just came out from Trav. I know Karan's got some tiers as well coming in. Some smaller channels, some mid-tier channels, some bigger channels. I know he's kind of covered off all the different bases over there. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of excitement around this project, a lot of hype. And I know like you've been really working hard on the back end. So like that's why we're always willing to have a team on that our team back on that is kind of, even if things don't go 100% as they planned, it's about how they recover and like respond back to it. In my opinion, like that's what I've always said. So like
So
that's why
true.
it's exciting to have you back. And I mean, Kron speaks extremely highly of you and the passion that you have for this one. So yeah, it's happy to help support.
Yeah, and I always say that like in relationships, like love relationships, it's not about the fact that you fight, it's the fact that how you recover. And so when you just said that, it's like it's true, like, because problems are going to happen, things are going to happen, it just happens, right? That's why even at Toyota, like, there's no best, only better. Like when cars were coming down the line and like the spray painter was missed, they came up with this idea for like moving that one car off to the side, and then that problem would be addressed later. So then so that it would keep going or whatever. It would be like efficient, right? They were huge on efficiency and effectiveness, being efficient and effective. And that was one of the things that they said. We kaizened. That's what they use it as, like, a verb. We kaizened the production line, right? And by pulling a car off to the side that's got an issue, that's got a problem, so we don't stop production can keep going, but this one had like an issue or whatever, so that would go off to the side, and then that would get addressed later. But yeah, it was kaizen, no best, only better, continuous improvement. And that's all you can do in life. And I think that kaizen applies to every single thing in your life, every aspect. It's like no best, only better. You can't say I'm the best person I'll ever be and I'm never going to be any better, because then people will look at you and be like, you're a weirdo. You know what I mean? But like, you're just going to get better. Like, that's why all the self-help books and everything are so popular. It's like, you want to get better. Everyone wants to do their best, unless you're like a horrible human being or something like that. Everybody wants to get better and everybody wants to try harder. And so anyway, that's what I did. So yeah, no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Maybe if we want to ask, if anybody wants to ask me from the group, do we open it up for?
Let's go.
And then maybe I'll take a couple of minutes to just put on some lipstick or something before the next one, if that's okay.
I think you look good, Dee. You'll be fine.
Thank you.
So we have DC here. We'll get DC up, and we'll get Michelle up. So Michelle, I haven't seen your hand up in a while. We'll get you up first, and then DC, I'll get you up second. Michelle, how's it going today? Just give Michelle a second to get her mic flipped on.
Yeah, no worries.
Not in any rush. I know she's come in before. It's just been a little bit delayed. So, hey, Michelle, how things going for you down there today? No, she's down in. She had some connection problems once before trying to jump on, but hadn't seen her hand up for a while, so I figured try and let her get a question in.
I'm just going to check and make sure that we're good on the Telegram. Take this opportunity.
While we're waiting for Michelle, DC, I got your hand unmuted. Just wait for Dee to maybe just check on the Telegram, and then you can fire away, because I think Michelle dropped off.
Okay, it crashed.
We're good? Telegram's okay?
It crashed. I'm checking to see if it got back up. I guess it, I'm hearing, and I got it, and his Telegram crashed from that. Okay, good. Okay, cool. How are you doing on the pink sale, everybody? So chime in if you can see.
It's full.
It's full. It's full?
71 of 69.
Woohoo! I said it! Did I not say that we were going to hit it in yours? Oh my gosh, it's so awesome.
Yeah, and now it's just
Yay!
So go ahead, DC.
All right, man. Appreciate it, dude. So yeah, if it was just one of one, but it's just a couple of things. Like I'm a bit skeptical of the project, and right now I'm a bit skeptical of you, to be totally honest, because I was digging into the project and I'm looking at the pink cell and it says owner can set max tax amount, owner can set fees up to 100%. The owner can pause trading but not stop trading. And I was listening to your explanation of how it went down, about how you paused the trading and tried to get liquidity and it broke. Um, I trust Maurice's word, and this is where you come in at when I said that I'm a little bit skeptical of you. So I don't know if anybody can verify that that's exactly what happened, but what I'm seeing with the project, and then I'm just listening to you, like I have a background in sales and I can tell you're a salesperson. And the way that you have talked in circles, I can't tell if you're doing it because that's just who you are. And I can't tell if you're doing it for that or if you're trying to wind the clock down so nobody can ask you about these red flags that are on the pink sale. Um, so yeah, and then you mentioned that you managed $12 billion. Well, I don't doubt you on that, but I do have a question about it because a lot of people in this DeFi space, what they tend to do is they will tend to overhype their positions. And you keep on constantly leading with integrity. And I'm looking at these red flags and the story of how this went wrong, about how you pause the liquidity and you can still do it now. And the fact that you try to get liquidity and it crashed, and on pink sale, it's still, you still have 73% unlocked tokens. Like, I don't know if that's really what happened or if, a scam happened. So how exactly did you manage $12 billion of Toyota's money? And what was your specific job title? Not saying you didn't, I'm just asking you.
Okay, I appreciate the question. The tone is a little bit aggressive, and I'm a little bit offended by it. And I'm not a salesperson. I'm an accountant. So, but I'm not going to get defensive on this. But I will say that that this is my project, it's my game, and I am in control of it. And you do not have to play it if you do not want to. I worked for Toyota Motor Sales. I implemented Quantum, and if you look at my LinkedIn, it's all there. My dev is worked for Oracle for 12 years, and so it's all verifiable. Everything's on the blockchain of how it went down. You can go and do your own research. I did not lock the tokens during the fair launch because I need them available to me. I will pull up to answer your question because I am an honest person and I am open kimono. This is the total supply. It's 2.5 billion. This is the circulating supply. This is the maximum supply. This is the remaining supply, the future saved Sifu, the team options. I have availability to change the game as I want to. I have not locked the tokens because the supply is low, and I do not wish to lock them because I don't want to. All the history of how everything went down is all verifiable on there, so I'm not even going to address that. But yeah, like I said, you don't have to play if you don't want to play. I'm an honest person. I'm doxxed. I worked for Toyota for 10 years, and my job title was General Accounting Analyst. So that's what it is. And so, yeah, $12 billion. If you've ever made $12 billion journal entries, let's give it a part. And I will also say that there are two people that are my mentors and who have inspired me considerably, which are Richard Hart, who is the owner of Hex and had $2 billion donated to him for his Pulse and PulseX and Pulse chain. And he is a founder and he controls everything. And he's never sold a single Hex in his entire life. And Forex, who also is a single owner, a founder. And to be honest with you, we're not one of those teams that's like going to be like, oh, she did it, he did it, they did it, who did it? I'm taking full ownership of this. I am taking 100%. This is all me. I am putting myself out there. I'm putting myself out on the line. Okay. So I am putting myself out there like Richard Hart does. He puts his face out on Facebook and on YouTube all the time, right? I'm putting myself out there. We're live on YouTube right now. So absolutely, but like I said, I'm not going to really get into like an argument with you because I feel like it's silly. I feel like I've explained
I have to jump in, DD. I will say that's just DC's tone in general. It was not meant as a slight. He just comes across sometimes as a little sarcastic. We've had issues with other questions in the past. where they've taken it a little bit as a dig, but just knowing him and having him ask questions, that's not, I think, how he meant for it to come across. So I know the tone isn't great, but I just from having him ask questions in the past, I know that's just how he kind of comes across. So I've had it happen where it's been miscommunicated before. I just wanted to touch on that aspect.
Okay, I appreciate that,
like I was
Maurice.
saying, I was just, like all I was doing was directly saying that the way that you were talking and the way that you were speaking in circles.
For your opinion, this is your opinion. Yes.
Wait. Yes, from my perspective, the person who's going to invest in your project. So I'm looking on Pink
Are you?
and I'm seeing the wait. I'm looking on Pink Sale and I'm seeing all the different red flags and whatnot.
And I don't mind talking about them, and I believe that I answered them. I believe I answered all of your questions and addressed them.
Wait one second. I'm seeing those red flags. The story you told of how it went down seems similar to the same red flags I've seen on Pink Sale. And then that coupled with the way that you've been talking, I can't tell if that's what really happened or not, is all I was saying from my perspective. That's all.
Well, okay. Well, I appreciate you explaining it. I think we need to move on at this point. That's where I'm at.
Ma'am, you see how all I did was ask you direct questions. I never called you a name. I didn't yell at you. I asked you a direct question, and you immediately flipped so hard.
I appreciate your opinions, and I feel that I've addressed your concerns and I've explained the reasons for the unlocked tokens. I do believe I explained what happened, and it's all verifiable on the blockchain. I appreciate your question. You can choose to play my game or not, and I would love it if you did. I'm very inclusive. I want everybody to play. Like I said, just check out my LinkedIn, and I think that should answer all the questions that you have about my integrity. So thanks for the question. I appreciate it. I the tone was a little bit rough. It was a little bit rough for me, but yeah. So that's where I at. The game, the code is written. It works great. And if you don't want to put your trust in somebody, then don't. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. So I appreciate the question, but Maurice, I'm ready for another one.
That's okay. I know you also have to get out of here in like 7 minutes as well. So
let's go to a positive ending.
Yeah, I was going to say, Michelle, if you wanted to try and throw that mic off mute. I know you're the first person I called out here. So Michelle, if you want to go ahead. I know I think I saw you in the first AMA even. So if you wanted to jump in there, Michelle, you can. If not, I will get Hodler up here. What's going on, Hodl?
I'm good, man. I was just wondering how you're doing, man, because your sound is, your voice is a bit different, man. I know you had a rough day yesterday, but...
Oh, yeah, me? Yeah, no, I'm good. It's just, it's been a lot of coordination before I even jumped into the AMA here. So my day got a little messed up before my day even started.
Okay, then it's okay. And for the project, yeah, the woman told everything, and I wish her good luck.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Ciao.
See you, Matt.
That was very sweet. Okay, you know what? I am gonna end. I'm gonna go because I have to get ready for the next one. If that's okay. Unless there's like some pressing really good questions.
So I just wanted to just kind of close things off. Obviously, appreciate you taking the time so much to come back and addressing what happened. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody will interpret things a different way. Like the nice thing about AMA is you have the chance to come out and listen to the information for yourself firsthand.
Yeah. And I don't have any problem with like talking about it, but the accusations is just a little bit much for me, and to let it continue on, it's just like it's kind of yucky. But I don't care. It's cool. Well, he was accusing me of being a salesperson, which is I'm not. So.
No. I didn't accuse you of anything. I asked you directly.
Whatever. I'm a founder and a developer of an amazing project, so that's what's going on.
This has honestly been the worst back and forth I've ever had in the 150 AMAs that I've hosted, and it's really disheartening that this is how we're going to
should
end
have
it
me
off.
on again.
Yeah,
I think you should have me on again.
Yeah,
It's just the schedule got all messed up, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm not.
Yeah, we'll stay
Whatever.
positive.
It's fine.
I mean, you got a busy day. How many more?
I have 4 more AMAs today. Yeah. So.
So it's a
And I'd
busy
like
day.
to grab another cup of coffee before this. So
We'll
okay.
get ready.
Well,
We'll
thanks everybody for being here, and I'm gonna go for it. Thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate you taking the time, and look. You're gonna deal with fudders. Like, look, and I wasn't a huge Trump supporter or whatever, but he's like the king of dealing with FUD, right? You have to do it. You have to do it. So, like, everybody's like, fake news. So that's what I'm gonna say to you. Whatever your name was, OX or whatever, fake news. I'm a liberal though, but I can use Trump's thing. So, I'm gonna have to deal with the FUD. I know I'm gonna have to deal with it, and so I'm just gonna approach it how the king of FUD would do. And fake news, buy this token because we are going to the moon. Thanks for joining me today, and I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you guys again sometime. All right? Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Maurice. Okay, be in touch, okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Cheers.
Okay, cool. All right, everybody. Bye.
Good luck in your Trav AMA.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Okay.
Bye, Dee.
All right, bye.
All right, I'm going to shut it down. I have to get a couple posts up for Caesar here quickly. He's offline, so I have to get this done. He's been messaging me during the AMA. I had to get a couple posts up, so I'm going to shut it down real quick. I do have another one potentially at 3 o'clock. I was kind of hoping to have the day off, so I might see if the team's willing to reschedule till tomorrow. But stay tuned on that. It will either be in an hour, and I'll drop the announcement in 10 minutes, or I might do it tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. Just kind of hoping to have today to kind of
take the day off, man.
I was kind of hoping to have the day to kind of, recover from yesterday.
Think about yourself, and the woman has to be also happy.
Yeah, no, she's in the office today, which is nice. She left give me a little bit of space for the calls and stuff. She kind of gets tired of listening to me, to be honest. I think that's what it is.
It's cool, man. See you later, man.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Hod. Thanks, DC. I know your tone. I know you didn't mean any ill will. So
I think he asked something legit concerns. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I even brought. It's funny because I even brought it up to my contact, just being like, in the pink sale, the audit in the bottom will be a concern to people who are unfamiliar with the project and who don't know crypto very well. So that will have to be addressed. And he's like, yep, 100% agree with that. So yeah, like my contact there, he's really helpful. He's going to make sure that a couple of the points we brought up are addressed going forward into their future AMAs. So yeah, it wasn't met, but I know just from knowing Dee and just getting to talk to her before, like she has spent a lot of time. She's not from crypto. She comes from corporate. And I know from my background, I get very frustrated at the people in this space sometimes because I am used to dealing with, like, McDonald's used to be a client of mine. Samsung used to be a client of mine. I used to run meetings with their executive team when I was 22, 23 years old. I'm now 8 years older and I'm dealing with fucking shit in crypto. So it's like sometimes when people talk to me, I have zero patience for anything that they're saying because I'm like, dude, I worked with these companies and you're somebody who's going to tell me this? Like, what did you do? Like, are you in your mom's fucking basement right now? Like, really? Right? So, like, that mentality, I get it, but it needed to be addressed better live, and I brought those concerns as well to Karan. So it will be corrected on the next time we have them in, if it happens.
It will.
No, and it's nothing against her. Like, I really like her as a person, but I'm sure as somebody, even me, when somebody asks me a question multiple times and it's something like I'm passionate about, I do tend to get a bit defensive. I'm the first person to say I'll be defensive, but I think the project itself, she's been working so hard on it. And I think you can ask a question sometimes so many times, and maybe the one time you don't have the right response, it gets overblown. So that's what I'm looking at this as, because she addressed it to me beforehand, super even keel. Karan addressed it to me beforehand, loved what I had to hear. It wasn't an issue from anything. And like she said, she addressed it. They're actively tracking it. Once the liquidity is released, I believe they're going to try and move the liquidity into the current project, or I don't know. I don't know the technical details, but I've seen that happen when there's been an issue with the lock and liquidity and being pushed into the second project. When it's released slowly over a certain amount of time, they do it on a schedule typically, as to not just mass pump liquidity so that people can exit. So I know they have a plan in the background. I just wanted to say, like, the AMAs are for you to do your own research, and I know DC